All right, we got our first speaker of the day today. I would say that everything Fellow does is kind of going into line with everything that we try to teach, which is kind of all about how to nurture relationships. And when I think in my mindset about how to nurture relationships, probably the premier guy on the whole entire planet would be Brian Buffini. Alan and I were lucky enough that a few months ago, we got to see our speaker speak on just about kind of how that works and what's going on right now and what are the biggest problems and what are the biggest solutions to those problems. And so when we're talking about how we're going to get better and how we're going to make you guys better, who better to come speak to us today than the Senior Vice President of Performance at Buffini & Company, who in layman's terms means she runs the coaching team at Buffini. Rachael Yeaman is our speaker today. She's been with Buffini for 22 years, and I'm going to tell you that's just part of the product that you're going to get today. She's amazing. She's charismatic, and there's a reason that she has the position that she does. So please give it up for Rachael Yeaman today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Really good to be with you guys. One thing that he did not say is that I am from Dallas, Texas. And so this is my first time in Mile High Stadium. And I just want to collectively thank all of you guys for beating the Eagles this weekend because we need all the help we can get right now with that weird tie that we have at the end of our record. So, no, seriously though, thank you guys so much. You know, I had the pleasure of being able to spend some time with them when we were in DC earlier this year, and just what you guys do together. I mean, this room is super powerful. It's filled with some friendly faces here, but those stats, you guys know what you're doing. And so what I would like to do here today is just talk a little bit about some of the things that we are hearing on the coaching floor right now. I mean, I have the privilege to be able to lead 60 phenomenal coaches that coach agents every single day and in all parts of North America. And what we're going to dig into first is just what we're hearing on the coaching floor and then what we can do about that to be able to make sure that we're taking ownership of what's possible for you guys to close out this year strong, but also set you up for a really good start to 2026. And so I want to start with what's going on in the industry. I mean, you guys know better than anybody, but anybody believe that your clients are hearing some misinformation out there? That they're, doom scrolling and hearing some things that are designed specifically in a business to capture their attention and to maybe manipulate the truth or feed them some market misinformation? Anybody in here having to work with your clients that might not know exactly what is going on in your local area? Like, it's tough, right? A lot of these headlines that we have here are designed to play into the fear that exists in the industry right now, fear that exists in the nation, the world, all of those different things. And so what we see here, with our coaches is that feeds into you guys. It's really hard for that to not impact an agent's mindset. And so what goes on for you guys then in your mindset? What are some of the things that you guys start thinking about that, do I have a sustainable business plan? Is this going to impact how I feed my family, the freedom that I'm going to be able to have to use my income to be able to experience life around me? Wow. I think I'm pressing buttons wrong. Sorry, guys. And so a lot of the things that, we get to hear on the phones is fear that you guys are losing momentum in your industry, fear that all of the uncertainty, all of the scarcity that's kind of going on is going to stall out your business, is going to impact what you guys are able to bring home every single day, what you're able to feed to the brokerage here. And so what we want to make sure that we take some time here to acknowledge is that, it's working. They're going to be, what's the stat? 240,000 agents is what they're expecting to be leaving the industry. That's great news for you guys, right? It's going to allow that market share that already is phenomenal to be able to continue to grow for you guys. And so what I want to do is empower you guys with the information to know what's going on in your own brain, and then know how to be able to take action to ensure that that market share keeps climbing for you guys on into 2026 and beyond. And so here's the thing that we need to know about the way that the human brain works. And so this is for you guys in this room, this is for all the clients that you serve. We are predisposed for what is called confirmation bias. And so the human brain is going to be hunting for all the things that we are fearful of in our head to confirm that it's accurate. Okay, this is what's going to lead to our bias towards safety. The fear-based part of our brain is hunting for things to confirm the fear that goes on in our mind. And so what we need to make sure that we are aware of is that our brain is biased towards trying to self-protect, create that safety. And so we are going to put ourselves in a position where we would rather live in that painful certainty than any of that peaceful uncertainty. How many think there's a little bit of uncertainty going on right now in the world, in the industry, et cetera? It's pretty much all over us. We cannot, do anything. We're tripping into it every single day. And so our brain is looking for that to confirm that negative bias. And so we need to know that. We need to know that that is something that we are predisposed to be thinking as agents. That is also something that our clients are going through on the other end. And so one of the questions, what do we do if we're fighting our brain chemistry, if we're fighting some of the chemicals that start surging? What do we get to do to take action and be empowered to be able to move forward and really take control of our business and our market share? So one of the biggest things that we hear on the phone with agents is their biggest fear is that their business has stagnated or that it will stagnate. If it has not stagnated yet, what if it does in 2026? What if it does next quarter, right? What that ends up creating is a lot of us as humans feeling overwhelmed, overworked, anxious. I mean, fear and anxiety is at an all-time high right now in the world, in the country certainly, but around the world. And that leads us to getting burned out. Anybody in the course of the last 6 months feel like you felt overwhelmed, maybe overworked, burned out to any degree? There's a few honest people in the room. I always love that. Behaviorally, what ends up occurring, again, we're fighting human nature here. We're talking about this for just a second. We then tend to withdraw. We tend to isolate. We tend to retract back kind of into that tortoise shell to self-protect, right? Because again, the thing that is driving us is safety, security. And so what happens when somebody who makes a huge portion of their living, if not all of it, in relational connection, relational interaction, being with the people, having the conversations, combating that market misinformation, that is what can actually create a challenge in your business. That's what can compromise how we move forward in the industry, how we move forward as agents. And so there are 3 things that we are going to talk about today that my coaches are talking to every single agent that they serve on the phone. And that is, we need to know our market. We need to be the absolute experts. What is going on nationally, maybe even in North America, but then certainly what is going on locally. We also need to very much, now more than ever, know who our customer is, know these relationships, know the people that we are here to serve. And then lastly, we need to know our business, our own personal business, and what we are going to do to ensure that we are taking control of what is possible for our businesses moving forward, okay? So let's dig in. Market. So I'm going to go. How many of you guys heard Brian Buffini do his bold predictions in August? Anybody tune in? Okay, great. A lot of y'all. Great. So we're going to just briefly go through some of these more national stats that Dr. Lawrence Yun has given to us. I know that the guys are going to make sure you guys have access to this, but Brian's going to be featuring him on December 3rd to do another bold prediction to really make sure that we are clear on what's happening as we move on into 2026. But right now we're going to go into some of the data that he shared there, and then I'm going to encourage you guys, all the stats that I'm about to show here nationally. I know Alan is the data master. He's going to make sure that you guys have all of this in November for your local area and far more, I'm certain. But the only thing that we can do to combat fear is fact. Like all the feelings that get stirred up when our anxiousness kicks in, when that fear starts to fester, is we have to have fact to combat that clickbait. You know, everybody is driving and hoping that the fear is going to stir up that uncertainty. It's big business right there. And so what we need to do as professionals in this room, which I know all of you all are, we need to make sure that we are crystal clear on what is truly happening in the marketplace, what is truly happening in the nation, what's happening here in our local area. And so some of what we're going to talk about here is what we're moving into and how that compares to 2019. How many of you guys were in the industry? You were producing agents in 2019? Great. How many have been in the business less than 5 years? So this is going to be interesting, right? Because y'all have really not experienced a normal market. And so somebody shout out, I'm super casual, so I like people just to shout things out. What are some things that we remember about 2019? Was great about the industry in 2019? Can you say it a little louder? It was before COVID, yes, that's absolutely true. What are some things that were good happening in your industry? More balanced market, that's exactly right, yeah. And so when we know that, and we're gonna get into some of the details here, how many people are excited to hear that we are moving into a more balanced market again come 2026, right? There's so much opportunity that occurs here. And so we're going to click through some of these real fast, but essentially we're going to see, you know, really close similarities with inventory. We're going to see similar, again, nationwide stats. I really very much encourage you guys, know your local area. So all these national stats, know it for your own book of business. Days on market, 27 to 27. Okay. Somebody, again, brave, shout out, what was awesome about 14 days on the market? You get a paycheck real fast, right? It's great. How many people think that 14 days on market is a normal, balanced market? It's pretty chaotic, right? For those of you that were working in 2022, just throw out some adjectives to describe what that felt like for those 14 days on market. Chaotic, maybe, slightly, at best. So we're going into an area where there's gonna, again, be more balance. This is a great word. This is a word I wanna keep using as we keep talking about it here. So here's one thing that's not the same as 2019, and I even think your local area is higher than what we're reporting here. And so medium home price, that's great. That's a nice number to have be higher than it's been. And then mortgage rates. We're starting to see some conservative adjustments down. This is what ends up happening, when the market or the rates are going to dip below 6%. I want to talk about this just for a second, but who do we think benefits more, buyers or sellers? Like, where do we think we're going to see the uptick in business? Is it going to be more buyers coming out of the woodwork, or do you think we might also get some sellers interested? Both. I love it. Yes. Why do you think sellers are going to be interested in that interest rate continuing to decline? Yeah, 90% around-ish. It depends a little bit on the database and in the market, but they need to know where they're going to go next. And so this is all data that we are seeing that is pointing to a really, really good setup for 2026. Here's some data around like who in your database you want to be paying really close attention to as far as generationally, because we can kind of see who is going to be set up to maybe take action in 2026, or more importantly, who might know people that are going to be taking action in 2026. Okay, be the expert in your local market. So like I said, all of the national data, all the stuff that Alan's going to give to you guys here in November, you need to know it backwards, forwards, you need to be able to recite it like that is your elevator pitch. For any time somebody sees the emblem, right? You want to make sure that you know what is going on in the area in case somebody says, hey, so how's the market? What's going on? You need to be that person. So some vital stats for y'all to know. Again, making sure that you know what's going on in the area, but then your personal stats too, and quite frankly, where you fall, right? It also gives a huge area for, our coaches to be able to dig in to help improve some of the data, some of the numbers there. So communicate like a trusted advisor in your community. So I want to go back to behaviorally, like when humans are encountering a lot of fear and we tend to isolate because of that burnout, that overwhelm, all of those feelings. What happens when there are hard conversations that need to occur with our clients, with our databases? Do we think that we are predisposed to run into those hard conversations and address them flat out? Or do you think that some of that isolation, some of that retreating back, some of that safety protecting might encourage us to maybe withhold from those hard conversations or kind of shy away, or maybe even not reach out to our database and have a conversation because we don't know what they're going to say to us on the other end of the phone? We hear it all the time in coaching. All the time. Calls are never easy for agents to make on a consistent basis for the most part, but in seasons like this, where some of those conversations need to be very courage fueled, we see just the drop off we have all the data. Well, every single one of our clients tracks what their proactive activities look like, and it is across the board low right now. And so some of the things that we need to know is we are 9 times more likely to be criticized for under-communicating than over-communicating. Okay? So every single one of those people, those beautiful relationships that you've got in your database, if they are not hearing from you, they are not saying, oh, thank you so much that Mike is not bothering me today. They're sitting there like, I wonder if Mike's thought of me recently. Haven't heard from him. I know this is not true, Mike, by the way. I know you reach out very frequently. It also takes 5 to 12 times for your people to actually hear and understand what you're trying to say to them. So all those people, how many of you guys have ever asked for a referral from somebody in your database? I hope every hand in this room. If not, by the end of today, every hand will be up. So how many of you guys have done it to the same person 12 times in 1 calendar year? A little tougher, right? That's the sweet spot. That's the velocity that we're trying to capture. That's that exponential impact that we're going to have in our database, because it takes humans so much to hear what we are trying to say. I'm a parent. How many of you guys are parents in here? Lots, I assume. Do your parents or do your kids hear you the very first time you say something to them and they just step into line and start doing all the things? No. Usually it takes another mom down the street or a parent or a coach or somebody. But the data is it takes 5 to 12 times for someone to even be able to start grasping what you are trying to say to them. And then the last little bit of data here, 55% of all communication is nonverbal. They need to see you. It is not enough to text. It is not even enough to just call. They have got to see you in person. And so what all of this data tells me as a coach is that we are riddled with opportunities for miscommunication to occur with our clients, with our relationships, with the people that we are in a relational system with, okay? And so the only way to combat what this data is setting us up for is to be with the people, to lean into the conversations, to lean into a very consistent, intentional level of communication with our people. Okay, you guys don't have to do it alone though. I think a lot of times we as professionals can feel like all that pressure then sits on our shoulders of, oh man, we have to shoulder up and muscle up all of the hard communication. And what if we get it wrong? And I want to do it perfectly. And all these things that can flow through our head. Just lean into the relationship. You do not have to figure it out alone. You just have to lean into the relationship. And so ask them, how do you like to be communicated to? What information do you want to know when I'm selling your home? What information do you not want to know? Do you prefer me to be direct and to the point? Or do you enjoy it when I contact you, connect you with information, and really filter it back with words that I've heard you articulate before so that everything has deep context behind it? Just ask them. Most people are very willing to tell you. And if they struggle, ask them what they don't want. Sometimes it is much harder for people to articulate what they do want than it is to articulate what they do not want. Okay, Brene Brown. Man, love this woman. To be clear is to be kind. To be unclear is to be unkind. So anyone that is struggling in communication with your listings, with your sellers, with your buyers, with your database, anyone who is shying away from those hard conversations because we don't want to be the bad guy or because we know we have information that is hard to hear, if you are unclear, you are unkind. None of you in this room want to be unkind to the relationships that you serve. I know that. I know your heart. I know why you're with this beautiful brand. Lean in. Okay. Step number 2, you have to know your customer. Okay. Serving versus pleasing. We're going to talk about it. I see some eyes, even in me just putting that up. I get it. How many love it when serving and pleasing get to run in parallel? Like where we get to be able to do both at the same time. Yeah, I know, it's great. And then it shifts. Okay, so pleasing delivers information. Serving provides solutions. Pleasing is passive. Serving is proactive. Pleasing is driven by acceptance or validation. That is about us, by the way. That is not about the clients we serve. Serving is driven by purpose and care and the desire to serve the people that we are in relationship with. Pleasing is motivated by fear because we want to be liked, or more specifically, we do not want to not be liked. Serving is motivated by strength. This is us showing up as professionals, serving the client that we get the privilege to do business with because they have chosen you. Pleasing avoids discomfort. Serving is invested. It is assertive. You are showing them that you care about their livelihood, this sale, this one of the biggest transactions that they are ever going to make in their life, just as much as they do, or very close to. Pleasing drains you. Serving sustains you. Pleasing is a messenger in the business. Serving is where you get to showcase yourself as a true professional. And I want to say just one more thing here for especially the people that have been in the industry for less than 5 years. We got to ride shotgun as a pleaser for a very long time and still be able to do a very good book of business. This is going to require some new skills that is going to serve you in every facet of life. We got to buckle up, we got to be able to do it, but it is just going to transform what is possible for you in your business and, quite frankly, you in your personal life. On average, people spend 40% of their day negotiating, influencing, persuading the people around you. How many think that stat is just wild? Like way more than anybody would ever think. Yeah. If we do not know that stat and are intentional then with every single minute, I mean, like really break that down into a 24-hour day. We're asleep for 8 of them too, by the way, guys. So I mean, like, this is a significant portion of your professional life. And if you are not aware of this and trying to leverage every single minute to be able to be that advocate for your clients at every step of the way, we are missing the boat. Knowing our customers, we have got to develop trust, right? How many people know that when we have trust with our relationships, everything else is easy? You know, I don't think it's in here, one of my favorite quotes is business moves at the speed of trust. I mean, when trust is there, so much is possible. I like to move fast. I do not like to move slow. So when I hear a quote like business moves at the speed of trust, I'm going to prioritize trust like nobody's business so we can move and get this job done. Because we've got families at home, we've got fun to have. Character and competence makes up trust. What your clients want to know is, are you good at what you do? That showcases you as a professional, your competence, right? But they also want to know that you care about them. That is where that character piece comes in. How many people, you know, and I heard it later, we're going to talk about it, or I heard it earlier, we're going to talk about it, but character and competence-based activities, right? And when we're in relationship with our database, how many people love to do the character-based activities? Yeah? I mean, it's like, I know the data, guys. Y'all, like, raise your hand. Like, I know there are so many in here that love the character building, like, love to let their people know that I care about you. That is excellent. It is part of the equation here. How many people love to do the character or the competence-based activities? Yeah. I mean, I hope most of you guys like to do both of them. The stat that we know in coaching is that our clients, typically the ones that we serve, our agents, tend to go towards the character building, 75% to 25% competence. That is not what is needed, okay? We need to make sure that we are 60% on the competence side, because that is why they're hiring you guys as professionals, right? They are hiring you because you are experts at what you do. And they also want to make sure that you care about them as humans. Trust is the glue of life. It is the most essential ingredient in effective communication. It is the foundational principle that holds all relationships. There is no way to jump around it. There is no way to skirt aside it. Trust is everything, and we, again, have to be so intentional to make sure that we are showing them that we care about them and that we are exceptional at what we do, okay? And lastly, we need to be able to identify and anticipate our clients' needs, what they're afraid of, or where the anxiety is coming in. That's those headlines that we were talking about. We want to know the impact that is having for them. We want to know what their concerns are. But in order to do that, we need to know who our people are. Simon Sinek, if you do not understand others, you do not understand business. Okay, we have got to know the people that we are serving. We have got to know the people that we have in our databases, that we have relationships with. So this is going to be, review for the majority of you in the room, but I'm going to go through it quick. A database is not a mailing list. It is not meant to just look cool with a bunch of numbers around it that are sitting there static, okay? It is meant to be a list of relationships. And so in order to have a relationship with someone, what do we need to do? How do we stay in relationship with our kids, with our spouses, with our friends? We got to talk to them, right? We got to text them maybe on occasion. We certainly have to see them every once in a while. I mean, my sweet, beautiful man in the back of the room here, if he never saw me, it's why he's here with me right now, we'd start to run into some challenges, right, in the relationship. It is the same with clients. They want to hear from you. They want to see you. They want to be with you from time to time, okay? And so one of the resources that we have, and if it's interesting to y'all, we can get it to you guys after this, but we've built what's called the client connection list. And so really it is just a way for every time you are in relationship with your people to get to know just one more thing about them. Here is one thing I will say this list is not designed to do. It is not meant to be an interrogation. So, I'm sorry. I don't want you guys to get this list and then all of a sudden start calling through your database and grilling them with 37 questions, okay? Every relational interaction builds on the previous conversation and sets up a future conversation that you have with them, all right? And so what I mean by that is one or two things every time you engage with them. When you do a pop-by, when you make a phone call, when you send a text, like if you capture some information that's exciting to them, if you see something on socials, you see they're at a restaurant, if you see that they're at a Cowboys game, if you see they're somewhere, make note of it so that you can follow up, so that you can have those conversations, because again, these are humans. These are not just people whose names are on a piece of paper, okay? We want to make sure that we know who they are. And finally, what we're going to dig into is you guys need to know your business. And this is where the action's going to take place. Like the rest is more theoretical. The rest is more just what we need to do to frame out. Now we're going to dig into what do we need to do? What's the work that we can do? Let me say it in a different way. How can we be empowered to take action to create the business that we know we want, to feed our families, to be able to have all the freedom that we want to fund our personal life? Okay? And so number one, double down on your USP. You guys are your USP, by the way. There is not one single person, even in this room, that will be able to serve your relationships the way that you get to serve them. You need to double down on yourself. You have got to know who you are in your industry. So I like chapstick. I'm sure most of the people in this room use chapstick, yes? What I really am saying is what, like lip balm? Is that what I'm saying? My sweet husband uses green mint chapstick, like literal chapstick. I bet he has it in his pocket right now. I don't think I have used chapstick, actually, since high school, like if ever. But I say it all the time. I need some chapstick. Lily, you want some chapstick? Say it to my kids. Everything that we are about to dig into, all of these activities that I'm going to ask you guys to do is meant for you to be the chapstick in your relationships. Okay? Anytime somebody that is in your sphere thinks about anything real estate related or sees one of those wild headlines that are meant to stir up that anxiety and they think, you know what? I'm going to give Mike a call because chapstick. Anything in the industry, I know exactly who I'm calling. Okay? What other USP can you guys pull from? This fantastic brand that has 13+% of market share in your area, let alone the global recognition that RE/MAX has in the world. I mean, you guys, paired with those two things and this incredible mission statement to serve your community, y'all, like, man, you chose well. Like, you have landed yourself in a very, very smart position to be the USP, to be the chapstick, to be the Kleenex for your people. We got to control our output. And so part of what we talked about here at the front end is controlling our input, right? Like being really mindful of everything that is coming at us every single day, and then what that stirs up inside ourselves, all that fear that starts to kind of get activated, and then how we tend to withdraw. What we are now going to talk about is what do we do? So if we're shutting some of that down, if we're going to just focus and be crystal clear and locked in about what we're doing, now we got to discuss what we're going to do, okay? And so this goes back to some of those local stats that you need to know for the area, but more specifically your own specific book of business. And you know, right now in coaching with our agents, we are in business planning. I know it is October 8th. We are already business planning for 2026. Anybody know why? Yes, it has. Say that like, yes, absolutely, gold star. Lead generation for 2026 started October 1. Okay, nobody freak out, we're fine. Like, we are going to come out with a plan. No one is late to this party. We will make sure that by the time you guys walk out of here, and the guys already have stuff set up with all these events planned in the fourth quarter. But we do need to know that we start business planning in September with our agents, because they have got to have picked a transactional goal or GCI by October 1. Everybody needs to know what we are trying to do, what that goalpost is for 2026, because we build all of the activities and the numbers that we need to hit each week around that, okay? And so, I'm giving an example here. Some of you guys, your numbers might look a little bit different than that. It is meant to, because it is meant to be your numbers, but I'm doing this for easy math, okay? And so let's say that the number of transactions is 20 that we want to do in 2026. We have to build out, well, actually, I'm going to go back to that previous slide. I want to talk about two different ratios right here, the contact to referral ratio. So I'm sure many of you guys know what I'm talking about with that, but basically is how many times do I have to talk to someone and ask for a referral? How many times do I have to talk to somebody and ask for a referral to get a referral? Everybody's numbers look a little bit different, right? That requires a lot of tracking, but on average, it's about 20. And so if you don't have a personal tracker, 20 is a decent number to go off of, okay? The other number is the referral to close. So what that means is how many referrals do I need to do or to receive to then get a paycheck? Again, everybody's numbers are a little bit different, but the average that we can tend to use is 3 to 1, okay? If you don't have that numbers, if you don't have those numbers like available to you readily. What that means then is it takes 60 contacts, 60 times we are engaging with somebody in our database and asking for a referral to get a paycheck. That math for everybody here? Cool. All right, so again, going back to 20 for easy math, that means in order to do those 20 transactions in 2026, I have to contact, lead generate, ask for referrals 1,200 times in the calendar year, okay? That equates to about 100 a month, right? We're not gonna do 100 a month, and there's a reason why I'm gonna do this math a little bit differently for you guys. So I want, as you know, the head of coaching, I want my coaches to work with their agents to do the bulk end of their lead generation for the first 6 months of the year. So what we're talking about again, first 6 months of lead gen, October 1, March 31st, okay? So in those 180 days, we are hunting for 70% we're doing 70% of the lead generation. What this does then for the second half of the year is it allows us to serve our clients in the spring market, right? Because I have just found it's not effective to assume that somebody's gonna be able to do a perfect 25 contacts, 52 weeks for a year, regardless of how much or how little business happens, right? Most of the time, when somebody has a ton going on in their pipeline, lead gen starts to suffer, right? There's a correlation there. And so I just want to plan for it. We just want to plan for it in coaching. And so instead of trying to then catch up in a really frenzied way towards the end of the year, we like to front end it, use everything that happens in the fourth quarter here with the holidays and just various ways to really be able to just engage with our relationships, let them know that we care about them. You know, we'll talk about some of the activities that RE/MAX Professionals has already like locked in for you guys. That's just like turnkey. But most of this is to engage, to show them that you care about them. Holiday season makes it so easy for us in phone calls, video messages, text, events, etc. So I try to front end, and that equates to 140 contacts again. I'm just using, this is not your math, this is just my simple math, right? But I think you guys are getting the gist. So then what that ends up doing is come first quarter, we're able to then really dig into more of the competence side of the equation, right? Market update, all the new data that comes out, letting people know what occurred in 2025, what that might fuel for 2026, everything that we're gonna learn, that Brian does in bold predictions in December. You get to focus care and letting people know that you care about them in Q4. And then you get to focus on competence and like really showing up as that trusted professional, that you are exceptional at what you do in the first quarter. So you gotta create a marketing plan, right, to be able to take action. You need to know with confidence where those 140 contacts per month are gonna come from, or whatever your number is. And so, there we go, caught up. Okay, so some of the ways for you guys to be able to engage with your people. I mean, you know this, again, we're in review, but that's for sending things in the mail, e-reports, giving them personalized phone calls, sending them notes, popping by, taking them to dinner, breaking some bread with them, client parties, social media, text, etc. The guys have so much of this already built in for you, right? And so when I see, I think it was Alan, that was sharing the fall festival and the turnout, oh my gosh, the coach in me is just like sitting on my hands, because like, they're making it so easy, and you guys have to get 140 or whatever it is for you guys in the month of October, and then November, and then December. I don't want you guys to feel overwhelmed, but man, you have got to have a plan that you get to execute on. And if they have stuff that's built in, and then all you need to do is make some phone calls to, you know, kind of hit that number by the end of the month or end of the quarter, take advantage of anything that is plug and play, anything that is turnkey. It is just phenomenal that they have these resources available. And so I think these are some of the ones that they let us know that happen on a year-to-year basis. We can talk about Fall Festival, we can talk about pop buys, but I want to show you guys like truly how you can maximize the most out of any one of those engagements. Whether you're doing a reverse pop buy, whether it's a client event, you can do a save the date video message. You can do a personal call to invite every single person to the event that's coming. You get to do a reminder video message letting them know, hey, can't wait to see you tomorrow. Don't forget, we'll be at ... event logistics, okay? Then you get to be with them at the event. You get to see them face to face. Then you get to do a thank you, whether it be a call, whether it be a video message. I mean, all of this stuff is flexible, but think about the amount of context in that 160 case example that you can get in the month of October just from this one event alone, let alone all the other calls that you're doing to people that are in your pipeline, people that are that you're actively working with right now, people that are just about to close or have recently closed. Take advantage of every single encounter that you have with your people, because you cannot afford to take your foot off of the gas, especially over the next 6 months, because this is the time to get those contacts in. I've got some wonderful Buffini clients in the room that I've known for years, but we hear the resistance all the time. I know. I wish there was a magic pill, honestly. I really do. There is no way to but through. Okay, the only way to do this is to do the activities, to do them consistently, and to do them well. I wish there was some other, equation that I could give you. For those of you that are in the room, that have only been in the business for the last 5 years, we kind of got to get a little loose with some of our systems because business was going well for a lot of people. But this is what we hold our clients accountable to. And so when I say we're trying to front end lead generation, it's because they get to take 8 weeks off every single year. If you guys saw when I'm talking about Q4, my done date for people that we coach is December 15th. And that's the day that, you might have some transactions going, you might have different things like that, but I want you to be done with lead gen. Unless you're doing something fun for New Year's, I want you to be done with lead gen so that you get to enjoy your home life. Okay? I also didn't talk about any of the competence-based activities until January 15. Kids are getting back to school. We're all trying to get into the new, out of the new year fog, like get into it, set up some maybe really good systems personally. We need to make sure that we are accounting for time for you guys to be able to rest, for you to be able to take some time off. When we front end all this lead gen in Q4 and Q1, it allows you to serve your clients really well in the spring market. It also allows you to take time off in the summer. If that's the time that works best for you or your family or various things like that, it allows you time to be able to exhale, where you don't feel like you are in the frenzy of the market every minute of every day for the rest of your life, right? While you are in this business. You've got to be able to take time to renew, restore, replenish. This is built in. I worked with Kale for years. He's now with another one of our fantastic coaches, still having his best year ever, year over year in perpetuity. He was just on one of the Buffini Coaching Live events. Brian had him get up there and asked him to do one of our dialogues that our coaches teach our agents all the time. Recited it backwards, forwards, left, right. He has been in the business for 21 years. If anyone has earned the right to slack on their systems, is most likely this man, but he won't, because he knows that you have got to be consistent. You have got to do the work. You cannot skirt around it. Able to take 148 days off last year. If his numbers are not compelling to you, how many people like that time off equation? I know I certainly do. Kitty Stockton, 13-year coaching member. I had the pleasure of working with her for 10 years. Phenomenal agent. 2024 had her best year ever after even 13 years. But for Kitty, her motivation is not just to keep leveling up year over year over year. Her motivation is to take as much time off and to enjoy life with her husband, Bob. And so they just got to take a bucket list trip to Europe. They ate at 3 Michelin star restaurants, which is their big foodies. This was like their thing. I got to hear all about it at our leadership conference in September. Living her best life. Guess what? Working the system day in and day out. I got a personal note from her after seeing her in September. We have got to be with our people. We have got to have active relationships with the people that are in our database. Use the tech that we were just talking about for your online leads or to help fill out more information about the people that that exist in your database. But for the ones that you know, use it. Leverage it. Have the relationship. Be active with them. I would not be a coach if I did not leave you guys with action steps. And so 3 things that I'm going to encourage you guys to do the minute you leave this event, or maybe tomorrow. But number 1, if you have not yet set a transaction goal or a GCI goal or something for 2026, get on that immediately. Okay? If you have not decided what your personal quarterly marketing plan is going to look like for Q4, and even are starting to think about what that could look like from a competent standpoint in Q1, get on that. And then the last thing, identify who your challenge network is. Some of you guys might already know. What I mean by challenge network is it's the people that are going to hold you accountable. It's the people that love you enough, the people that care about you enough to have the conversation, to say, hey, I see your numbers have maybe been dipping. How's your lead gen going? How are the relationships? How's your contact going? They are going to care about you enough to hold you accountable to what you have committed to do for your business, because they know that what you guys do for your business is what feeds your family. That what you guys do for your business to earn income is what fuels the freedom in your home life. They are going to be on you to ensure that you are not drifting. You know, when you set those goals, you're on the freeway. You know the destination. You know where you're going. There's plenty of wiggle room. Like I said, that's the reason why when we're on the freeway, we've got the dotted lines, right? Like we can move around. But let me tell you, you've got to have a challenge network that is going to serve as the rumble strips or the guardrails so that you do not fly off the freeway and realize that you have missed your entire destination and where you're going. And so my encouragement is pick someone or many someones in this room, your broker, a business coach. I mean, have people in your network to save you from yourself, because you cannot expect to get it right all of the time. That is exhausting and impossible and requires far more work and intentionality than having people around you to just help hold you accountable, okay? And lastly, one thing that we are just offering that the guys are setting up for you guys to have available. If you guys need help, if you need just some objective perspective, if you want somebody to help you set some goals, sign up for a complimentary business consultation. They are only here to make sure that you have a plan to close out this year strong and to move into 2026 with a very clear vision and business plan for your life. And so if you do not know what that is, or you need extra accountability, go to the guys that run the show here, or sign up for one of our business consultations. We would love to be able to help you. We do this every single day. These are incredibly, they're professionals. This is what they do every single day. There is not one single thing that they have not yet heard on a call that you are going to scare them with if you tell them. But make sure that you know exactly what you are going to do tomorrow to set you up for a strong finish to 2025 and a very fast start to 2026. Okay? Thank you guys so much for your time. Appreciate being with you.